Never stop reading the Bible. And welcome! Today we're diving into two incredibly powerful parables from the book of Ezekiel, chapters 16 and 17. Now these are ancient stories, but they get into a theme that feels so modern and so human: betrayal.
And exploring them really forces us to ask a pretty huge question. When trust is broken, how does God respond? This is the mystery we're going to unpack today, looking at it through two very different, but you'll see, deeply connected stories. All right, so first up we have our story from Ezekiel 16. It's a parable about a broken vow, often called the bride's betrayal.
And what's so striking here is the metaphor it uses. I mean, it doesn't get more personal than marriage, does it? The relationship between God and his people isn't described as something distant or formal. No, it's an intimate, binding covenant that's supposed to be built on mutual love and trust.
And it's because this relationship is so personal that the betrayal that follows is just so shocking. The whole story really unfolds in 4 acts. It kicks off with an act of divine grace, which then leads to a completely shocking betrayal. That, in turn, is followed by a righteous judgment, but it all ends with an everlasting promise.
And right here, you can see the two sides of this broken vow in stark contrast. On one side, you have God's faithfulness, an offering of mercy, love, and a rock-solid covenant. And on the other side, Israel's ingratitude, a betrayal of trust that just completely shatters that sacred bond.
Okay, so let's shift gears and jump into the second parable in Ezekiel 17. This one's a tale of political intrigue called the Eagle's Gamble.
And here, the perspective takes a really dramatic turn. We go from the intimacy of a marriage to the high-stakes world of international politics, and it's all told through the story of 2 great eagles.
So let's decode this political drama, shall we? The first eagle, the big powerful one, represents the empire of Babylon. The vine that it plants, that's the nation of Israel. And that second eagle that flies into the picture, well, that's the rival empire of Egypt.
So here's what happens. Israel's king swears a solemn oath to Babylon, but then he breaks that treaty to try and get help from Egypt instead. This is an act of faithlessness, both politically and spiritually, and it brings up the central question of the whole parable. Can he break the covenant and yet escape?
The story makes it pretty clear that this kind of betrayal, it only leads to ruin. But, and this is a huge but, that is not where the story ends. Both of these parables, deep down, contain a powerful, powerful promise of restoration.
Let's just go back for a second to that story of the unfaithful bride. After what seems like the most profound, unforgivable betrayal, the chapter ends with this absolutely stunning promise from God. I will establish my covenant with you, an everlasting covenant.
And guess what? We see this exact same theme pop up in the political story. After describing the downfall that comes from the broken treaty, God promises to personally step in, saying, I myself will take a sprig, and I will plant it. It will become a majestic cedar. A beautiful, clear symbol of total restoration.
So when you put these two stories together, a really unified message starts to emerge. First, betrayal has severe consequences. Relying on worldly power instead of God, that leads to ruin. But, and this is so crucial, judgment is not the final word. God's ultimate plan is all about restoration and an everlasting covenant.
And that final point, the promise of a covenant that lasts forever, it leaves us with a really powerful idea to reflect on, especially in our world today. In a world that's so full of broken promises and shattered trusts, what does it truly mean to believe in a promise that is genuinely unbreakable?
This has been an explainer from the Center Studio.